Your top stories this evening, sponsored by Courts, bringing value home. Army may be called in to fill election day roles. Family of woman killed by Russian diplomat's vehicle demands justice. How did the PPPC access citizens' private data? GS JAGDEO says, we give them the numbers. And High Court dismisses Forward Guyana Movement's case. An appeal is to be filed. HGP Nightly News begins now. And good evening to our viewers here in Guyana and online. I'm Travis Chase with the Friday, August 29 edition of the HGP Nightly News. We have what you need to know this evening. The Guyana Elections Commission is facing mounting criticisms after reports surfaced that the Guyana Defense Force may be asked to step in as presiding officers for Monday's polls. Find out more from Tiana Cole.
With just days to go before Guyanese head to the polls for general and regional elections, the Guyana Elections Commission is grappling with a shortage of presiding officers. Reports indicate that the Guyana Defense Force, GDF, may be called upon to fill these critical positions, as many of those initially offered a post have declined to serve. Addressing the issue at his party's press conference on Friday, Alliance for Change leader Nigel Hughes stressed that while the Army is not the problem, soldiers lack the necessary training for electoral duties.
The problem comes with the level of training and the level of preparedness by persons who have no prior exposure to the electoral system being thrust into positions of responsibility like presiding officers who will have to make decisions in relation to the process when they've had no training in this regard.
Hughes added that with only 2 days left before the elections and GCOM still unable to secure enough presiding officers, the situation is a serious cause for concern. Earlier in the day, GCOM's Commissioner Vincent Alexander confirmed during an interview with the editor-in-chief of Guyana Standard that a significant number of individuals who were initially offered positions as presiding officers have declined to serve. Alexander cautioned that assigning Army officers could carry serious risk, noting that military personnel are not trained in the intricacies of election management.
If they're not properly trained, you have problems.
The commissioner emphasized that while soldiers are disciplined, they are not prepared for the technical and procedural demands for presiding over elections. He further linked the shortage to Guyana's strict electoral laws, which impose fines up to $10 million for mistakes, even if unintentional. Alexander suggested that this heavy liability has discouraged civilians from accepting the role and warned that inserting untrained military personnel could lead to errors with serious legal and political consequences. Tiana Cole reporting for the HGP Nightly News.
The People's Progressive Party Civic Access Citizens' Private Data. According to that party's General Secretary, JAGDEO, the party provided their agents with the numbers. General Secretary of the People's Progressive Party and the country's sitting Vice President, JAGDEO, is not prepared to tell the electorate how their private data have been accessed by his party agents. Several citizens have reported and have even recorded being contacted by agents of the PPPC inquiring whether they would be voting for the PPPC at Monday's elections.
We acquire those numbers from various sources. That's all I'm going to say. We acquired the number from various sources.
The seemingly flummoxed vice president really declined to say if indeed the names and the numbers had been gathered from the government of Guyana's cash grant database in 2024.
We gave her the number to call. She didn't. They're just harassing the poor young girl.
The vice president even further denied that data was provided to the government.
Data is always protected. We have a new law and what we pass, and the data is protected.
Instead of properly addressing the issue, the vice president said he finds it abhorrent that citizens would try to harass and intimidate his party agents when they call.
I find it abhorrent that members of the media would harass some of the people like Mosley did.
Already, President Afred Ali said that Guyanese would get another cash grant before year end only if the People's Progressive Party Civic is re-elected after the September 1 polls and if Guyanese behave themselves. Travis Chase, HGP Nightly News. On Friday, dismissed the case brought by Forward Guyana against the Guyana Elections Commission over its exclusion from the national ballot of 3 regions. An appeal is expected to be filed. Marvin Cato reports.
3 days before Guyana's elections, Acting Chief Justice Navinder Singh dismissed the case brought by the Forward Guyana movement. The political party basically argued that it has been excluded from the national ballot for 3 regions. The party, however, did not field candidates for the 3 regions, 7, 8, and 9. GCOM's legal representative, Arundranath Gasai, had the following to say.
It was always, as I said in my submissions, the very first day that the case was heard, that to my mind, the law was extremely clear, and if it wasn't clear, the CCJ had made it clear.
The case filed by FGM candidate Hadassah Fisher questioned also whether political parties that qualify for elections should appear on ballots in all regions, even where they are not contesting local seats. FGM has met all the legal requirements to participate in the September 1 elections. Guyana's Attorney General also gave his views on the ruling.
A person who is not contesting that election in that particular constituency to be on the ballot box, on the ballot paper. You have not entered the contest. How do you expect to become a contestant?
Forward Guyana Movement legal representative explained that
the principal purpose is further and deepen participation of people in democracy. The interpretation given by the court to the Constitution and the representation of the People's Act would have that effect.
the acting Chief Justice, in dismissing the case, ruled that FGM and ALP made a decision not to contest in those geographic locations, hence they disqualify themselves. This is Marvin Cato reporting for HGP Nightly News.
It tells us now that the European Union Election Observation Mission deployed 20 short-term observers for Guyana's elections as the country prepares for that September 1 polls.
Robert Bergeron, Chief Observer of the European Union Observer Mission, during a press briefing at the Pegasus Corporate Suites in Georgetown, said that the 20 short-term observers will be observing the election day proceedings on September 1.
Anna, you will be our hearts and minds, wherever you will be, following closely everything what's going on during the election day.
The short-term observers will be looking on as polls open, counting of ballots and tabulation of results. Bergeron said that the EU Election Observer Mission made it clear that the observers will not interfere with the political process, but rather execute its mandate to ensure that transparency prevails.
We will not interfere in the process, and I want to underline it very strong, that our goal is to observe, not to intervene.
Before being deployed, the EU Observation Mission completed comprehensive briefings on election day, procedures, voting and counting procedures, and relevant national and international standards. Earlier this month, the EU deployed a 14-member team of long-term observers to all 10 regions. These observers are already working in the field and have met with various political parties and stakeholders, as well as attended political rallies across the country. Antonio Day reporting for the HGP Nightly News.
The HGP Nightly News. Stay with us. There is more news ahead.
Welcome to SNL Electrical Inc., where lighting and electrical needs are met with expertise and style. From the latest in electrical lamps to durable cables, circuit breakers, panels, we have it all. Illuminate your space with our elegant chandeliers, stunning crystal lights, and versatile pole lights. Looking to upgrade your comfort? Explore top-of-the-line AC units and our diverse selections of stylish styles. Visit us at 170-180 Thomas Street, Kitty, Georgetown. Discover a solution that not only lights up your world but transforms it. Call us on telephone number 226-3018 or 223-1634. SNL Electrical Inc. Powering your life with elegance, quality.
Election offences are actions that have been made illegal by law with a view to ensure that the elections are free, fair and transparent. Some election offences are voting more than once in the same election, voting or attempting to vote if you are not qualified to do so, voting in the name of another person, canvassing for voters or interfering with an elector within 200 yards of a polling station, removing or defacing a lawfully displayed official electoral notice or election materials, deliberately obstructing or interfering with the work of an election officer. Any person found guilty of an election offense may be fined and imprisoned. For some offenses, a person may be disqualified from voting in future elections. Do not commit election offenses. For more information, contact the GCOM on 225-027729 or visit www.gcom.org.gy.
How many presidential candidates do you know who've climbed Mount Roraima and walked with indigenous communities to defend their land rights for free? From the summit of our great mountain to the streets of Bellatrum and the villages of the Rupununi, he's walked beside the people for justice, for dignity, for real change. Let's elect a president who's already shown he'll be there for you every step of the way. Let's elect Nigel Hughes for president of Guyana.
Vote AFC.
This is a paid political advertisement.
Electoral establishment. No job is too small or too large. We specialize in all types of fabricating machinery, excavator repairs, rice field pumps, and hydraulic hoses. Visit us at Lot 113, Block CC, Manripo, East Coast, and Marara, or call 220-9624-629-4021 or 619-7880. At Krishna Rolf Establishment, no job is too small or too large.
The HGP Nightly News. Antonio Day reports now that with only 2 days remaining until the September 1 elections in Guyana, Shanika Haynes, a young candidate from the Partnership for National Unity, is urging citizens, especially women, to vote for a government that will protect their rights amid rising femicide. She emphasizes the importance of informed voting to address these critical issues.
As parties prepare for the September 1, 2025 elections in Guyana, Shanika Haynes, a candidate for the Partnership for National Unity, expressed her excitement and urged citizens to take voting seriously and make informed choices. In an exclusive interview with Nightly News, Haynes stated that voters need to carefully choose a government that will protect their rights. Her message was directed to predominantly female voters given the country's constant surge in femicide. She posited that while these recurrences fall squarely at the feet of the Guyana government structure, A holistic approach is required to address this escalating problem.
It goes back to proper governance. The incident that happened 2 days ago, what you hear from family members and even neighbors, it's sickening to know that nothing was done prior to this incident.
A man went berserk on August 26, 2025, shooting his wife 10 times, also shooting his 10-year-old son, then turned the gun on himself on Charlotte Street. On February 27, 27-year-old Kenisha Vaughn was shot to death, approximately 12 times by her reputed husband, Marlon De Silva. The matter is still before the courts. In this context, Haynes, in reference to these occurrences, said that addressing femicide must first begin with reformation of the Guyana police force.
Complaints were made in all of these cases, and the police had an opportunity to do something about it. But we find that when these complaints are taken, even when restraining orders are given, they're not taken seriously.
The young female candidate, whose academic background was international relations, noted that systems must be in place for both women and men to seek professional help when faced with cases of domestic violence. She also said qualified social workers and psychologists in Guyana are deterred from going above and beyond due to low wages, and noted that this will be changed under a new dispensation.
The social work system, it needs a heavy revamp so men can feel as well that they can be able to speak to somebody about the issues they're having, and they don't have to resort to these kinds of actions.
Haynes, who is also a wife and mother, posited that protective facilities must be solely in place to free victims of domestic violence from their aggressors.
And that has to happen from a holistic social welfare setup that caters to all of the people to help remedy the situation. There is no one thing that can be done to fix it.
Haynes expressed her belief that the Partnership for National Unity is capable of addressing these pressing issues once in government. She emphasized that change can only be achieved if citizens exercise that democratic will wisely. Antonio Day reporting for the HGP Nightly News.
It is important for our government to understand that although legislative reform and police action are helpful, we are in an era where we must no longer search in vain for root cause, but to take drastic measures. These were the staunch remarks made by Attorney at Law Vanessa Thomas as she adds her voice to the uncontrollable level of femicide locally. Here again is Antonio Day.
Vanessa Thomas, an attorney at law and candidate for the Partnership for National Unity, has added her voice to what she described as a disturbing surge in femicide locally. Thomas explained that the constant surge in femicide and domestic violence further destroys the peace that should exist in our communities. While legislators such as the Family Violence Bill No. 11 of 2024 has been introduced to replace the Domestic Violence Act of 1996, offering a more comprehensive approach to addressing domestic violence, the attorney posited that the incumbent needs to put systems in place to protect women.
When women seek justice, there must be no further injustice. It is important for our government to understand that although legislative reform and police action are helpful, we are in an era where we must no longer search in vain for a root cause because there are several contributing factors.
Thomas said scenarios such as uncontrolled anger, socialization, and infantilism are among the deep-rooted causes of domestic violence and femicide. She said these issues must be carefully examined.
So dignity restoration is imperative, and greater initiatives to address the stripping of dignity on one hand and the awareness of self-worth on the other hand should be simultaneously pursued.
The Family Violence Bill includes various forms of abuse and extends protection to unmarried, cohabiting couples, and also provides for emergency protection orders to offer immediate safety for victims. Thomas is confident that it can only be achieved under a new dispensation, which is the Partnership for National Unity.
We cannot afford to lose our young mothers, and quite frankly, too many women are suffering under the PPPC government. We can't bear that burden anymore. It's time for a change.
The bill mandates the establishment of support services including shelters, counseling and legal aid for victims of domestic violence. Notably, the Criminal Law Offences Act solely criminalizes various forms of wounding and assault. Antonia Day reporting for the HGP Nightly News.
Story now from Jada June, grieving families demanding justice and accountability after their mother was struck down by a vehicle belonging to a Russian diplomat. The tragic incident, which occurred 2 weeks ago, has left the relatives frustrated as they allege that authorities are not treating the case with the seriousness it deserves.
The family of Ava Braffett is pleading for justice following her death. The 64-year-old woman was struck down by a vehicle reportedly owned by a Russian diplomat on August 5, 2025. She was struck down at Ogle while she was on her way home. Her son, Answake Braffett, says that the matter is not being taken seriously.
No, it's a serious matter, and I need justice to my mom. We went into them and was shared talks. No action with them. No action with the police, and we stand where expense on our own.
The family revealed that while they were contacted by officials of the Russian embassy, there has been little progress. The dead woman's relative, Dion Jones, expressed deep concerns over diplomatic immunity in the case.
Because of them having immunity from prosecution, that is a big deal to us. We feel like fairness won't happen because of that.
She claims that the family needs compensation while calling for a legislative change.
They need to make laws fair available for their citizens, that when they get hurt by a diplomat, they need to have some accountability of what they're doing so it could be fair to the people at large.
Another relative, Glenda Jones, echoed similar sentiments of disgust in the handling of the matter.
Not fear that because you're a diplomat that you're allowed to do these things, because that's what it seems like, that you're allowed to do whatever you choose to do, kill innocent people, and just get away with it.
Legal action is now being pursued by the family. Jada June reporting for HGP Nightly News.
Jada, for your reporting. Stay with us. There is more news ahead.
Did you tell him that Danny went to pick up KFC?
No, wait a minute. Are we really not going to tell him we already have KFC?
A tasty dinner shouldn't be that complicated. Crunch the routine and order a delicious KFC bucket for the best price. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Yo, Ricky, I hear that you can't cheat at elections, boy.
Yeah, boy. You can't cheat at elections. And if you try to cheat, you will be caught. When you are caught, you will be prosecuted in court. And if found guilty, you will go to jail and pay a big, big fine.
How will it catch me if I try to cheat?
GCOM has put in place several measures to identify persons who would attempt to cheat. As an ordinary voter, the measures that apply to you are ensuring that you cannot impersonate another voter, checking your fingers for the presence of indelible ink, and being scrutinized by the party agents who are stationed at the polling stations.
Well, yes, Ricky, you're right, boy. Nobody can cheat.
For more information, contact the GCOM on 225-027729 or visit www.gcom.org.gy.
The One Guyana Floating Production Storage and Offloading Vessel has achieved first oil, marking another historic moment for our nation. With the Yellowtail project now in operation, production will eventually increase by 250,000 barrels per day, taking Guyana's national output capacity to over 900,000 barrels daily, the highest per capita in the world. This milestone means much more opportunities for Guyanese, from jobs in transport, engineering, and construction to new contracts for local businesses.
Granny, what you doing on the right of way? Like you're saying that the sunshine stretched your legs. Sunshine? Look, forget I ask. You know you're not supposed to be on the right of way, Granny. But I am digging, building, burning, or planting. No horse in the wrong, no horse riding, or nothing for doing horses. But sunshine? But you and sunshine get to have the right of way. Sunshine, I'll be glad. Good.
To the HGP Nightly News. Forward Guyana Movement's presidential candidate Amanza Walton Desire on the podcast Focus frontally rejected the notion that the PPPC is playing fair and has accused the incumbent of blurring the line between party and state. Marvin Cato reports.
We have, in fact, written to all of the observer missions pointing out that what the government is in essence doing is utilizing state data for electoral purposes.
That was Amanza Walton Desire as she critiqued People's Progressive Party Civic for their alleged misbehavior in putting people's private information in the hands of its supporters, which in the future could have security implications.
Because we also have recordings of calls where people say, "Oh, we got your number from the cash grant information."
Walton Desire was visibly upset at the fact that the government is willing to take this risk, not knowing if these individuals were vetted and can be trusted with people's private information.
Many of us will recall that when you registered for the cash grant, you had to give your current phone number. And so they've been using that information. How have they been able to access it?
She stressed that the government keeps pushing the boundaries, not going near to the line, but over the line, and those are authoritarian qualities.
The PPP has blurred the line between party and state.
Had this information been afforded to all contenders in the electoral process, this would have been a non-issue. However, the PPP, according to Walton Desire, has shown once again their intentions to dominate and control.
You're right. Tele-campaigning is done in other parts of the world. But you know what's the difference? The information is equally accessible across the playing field.
This is Marvin Cato reporting for HGP Nightly News.
Are counting their losses. The rainfall lasting just about a half left the community underwater. This comes barely a month after more than 132 million was spent on major drainage works in the area, raising questions about the quality of the work done and accountability of contractors.
A brief but tense rainfall on Thursday has left the mining town of Bartica flooded, with flood waters rushing into businesses, homes, and roadways. The flood, which followed only about 90 minutes of heavy showers, caused significant disruption, forcing residents and shop owners to scramble as water swept into buildings. The situation has sparked outrage among citizens who are demanding answers, particularly since only a month ago, government authorities allocated and spent $132 million on extensive draining, cleaning, and upgrading Bartica. The contractors responsible for the project were reportedly well paid, and yet the results on the ground now paint a grim picture of inefficiency and poor workmanship. Photographs and videos taken inside several homes and places show water covering tiled floors, while outside residents seen wading through ankle-deep water as vehicles struggle to drive through the streets. Residents are now calling for a comprehensive investigation into the drainage works executed, as they argue that the occurrence of such extensive flooding after only a brief period of rain indicates either poor quality work or significant deficiencies in oversight and accountability. For now, the people of Bartica continue to fear that their community remains vulnerable, with rainy seasons far from over. Efforts to contact regional officials for an update on support and mitigation efforts proved futile. Nightly News, however, was able to have a brief telephone call with the mayor, Martin Anthony Murray, who promised to provide an update, but up to the press time, that was not forthcoming. JAGDEO reporting for HGP Nightly News.
Goal of modernizing healthcare delivery, President Ali has announced that Guyana will deploy a nationwide drone-based blood delivery system within 6 months. The initiative, he says, will ensure that life-saving supplies reach hospitals faster, particularly in hinterland and remote communities. Tiana Cole reports.
President Ali said the drone program will be rolled out in just 6 months. It will allow blood and medical supplies to reach hospitals faster, cutting delays that often cause lives in hinterland and rural areas.
Drones will work in an interconnected way with our blood banks. So if blood is urgently required, we can deploy that blood with drones, saving time, saving lives, and growing efficiency.
The president explained that this is part of a wider digital transformation alongside electronic health records, AI diagnostics, and telemedicine at 200 remote sites. Guyana will become one of the first countries in the Caribbean to use such advanced technology in healthcare.
This is not 3 years from now. This is not 1 year from now. This is 6 months from now. This will be deployed at scale across our country. The future of medicine is digital, and Guyana will not be left behind.
Meanwhile, Health Minister Dr. Frank Anthony in his remarks said the health sector is changing rapidly, bringing better services to every community.
We are not only training healthcare workers, we are building the next generation of healers, innovators, and leaders.
He highlighted that in the past 3 years, over 500 nurses and 2,000 nursing assistants were added to the system.
Healthcare is not a privilege for a few, but the right of every man, every woman, and every child who calls this place home.
Meanwhile, President Ali also commissioned a new $6.6 billion number 75 regional hospital. The hospital boasts 75 inpatient beds, operating theaters, a CT scan, birthing suites, ICU, HDU, NICU, and a 24-hour pharmacy and lab equipped to deliver modern, world-class care. Tiana Cole reporting for the HGP Nightly News.
News is up next.
Live the island dream. It's your chance to be one of over 100 winners in the Island Dream promotion. Win your share of more than $1 million in cash and prizes, plus 2 all-inclusive weekend staycations for 2. And that's not all. Score coolers packed with Buster, Turbo, Altitude, and Viva. Just buy any can or bottle of Turbo, Buster, Altitude, or Viva. Find the code starting with BB, then visit at Buster Guyana or Turbo_Caribbean on IG or Facebook for details. The Island Dream, get money. Live the island dream.
Granny, what you doing on the right of way? Like you're saying let the sunshine stretch your legs. Sunshine? Look, forget I ask. You know you're not supposed to be on the right of way, Granny. But I am digging, building, burning, or planting. No horse in a wrong, no horse riding, or nothing for doing horses. But sunshine? But you and sunshine get off the right of way. Sunshine, let me glad. Good.
Mom, did you tell him that Danny went to pick up KFC?
No, wait a minute. Are we really not going to tell him we already have KFC?
A tasty dinner shouldn't be that complicated. Crunch the routine and order a delicious KFC bucket for the best price. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Hey, Nick, why you look so sour, buddy?
Hey, Brooks, bro. I telling Fiona, let me do something to make a quick raise, but she didn't want to cooperate.
Well, fill me in, cause I Brooks myself.
I tell Sheila we sell we vote, but to do that, we have to take a photo of our ballots when we done vote.
And you won't get paid for that?
Well, so here, bro. The man said they know somebody that can pay you when you show them a photo of the ballot paper that you vote for them party.
Well, bye. I in that with you, because I need a raise too.
Well, the two of you are going to go ahead without me. Because first of all, GCOM say you have to turn off your phone when you're in the police station. And secondly, if you're found guilty selling your vote, you will have to pay a fine of $65,000 plus 6 months in jail. Right? So you're going to decide who paying the fine and who going to mind your children while you're in jail. Okay? And you, the Jagdish, you could go and explain that to your wife.
What? Pay a fine and go to jail too?
Nah, I'm not in that.
For more information, contact the GCOM on 2250-27729 or visit www.gcom.org.gy.
The mission has been renewed, and the hope for a better Guyana lives on with the PPPC. Get ready for the victory at the PPPC Grand Final Rally on Saturday, August 30th at the Lusignan Market Square from 4 p.m. Be part of the Red Tsunami. Bring your flags, raise your voices, show your love for country, as together we march into victory and advance the transformational journey of inclusion, hope, and prosperity. Hear from your leaders, President Dr. Mohammed Irfan Ali, General Secretary Dr. JAGDEO, Prime Minister Brigadier Retired Mark Phillips, alongside national and regional leaders. They will deliver the message of victory, hope, progress, and transformation. The PPPC remains the only truly multi-ethnic political party with a proven track record of achievement, free university education, thousands of new jobs and business opportunities, affordable housing for families, improved healthcare and education, expanded agriculture and food security, world-class infrastructure, a brighter tomorrow for our youth. Up with the PPPC Grand Final Rally, Saturday, August 30th at the Lusignan Market Square from 4 p.m. Together, let's make history on September 1st at the general and regional elections. Vote PPPC, stronger together for a better Guyana.
Be called in to fill election day roles. Family of woman killed by Russian diplomat's vehicle demands justice. How did the PPPC access citizens' private data? JAGDEO says, we give them the numbers. And High Court dismisses Forward Guyana Movement's case. An appeal is expected to be filed. Those are our major headlines. For these stories and more, please go to our website. It's www.hgptv.com. I'm Travis Trace. Thanks for staying with us. Goodbye.